Great, good afternoon everyone and welcome to JDC West 2023 case presentation. Before starting today's JDC West organizing committee would like to make a land acknowledgement. The University of Saskatchewan and Saskatoon is located on Treaty 6 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis. We pay our respect to the First Nations and the Métis ancestors of this place and reaffirm our relationship with one another. We pledge ourselves to create a competition that celebrates the diverse cultures and history of the land. Thank you to our judges. To my right, we've got Jacqueline Conway, Mason Gardner, Kira Bloomquist, Tiffany Stevenson, and Jamie Tomei. My name is Shelley Kay, and I will be the academic moderator for this presentation. Competitors will have a maximum of 20 minutes. Following the presentation, judges will hold a total of 5 minutes to ask the presenters questions. Our academic timekeeper, Harvey and that side of the room, will indicate through timing cues throughout the presentation. Indicate their intent to ask a question by. Once the question period is concluded, the delegates will be escorted to leave the room. No questions or comments will be permitted from the audience at any time. Please ensure that your cell phones are turned off to silent and there's no talking amongst yourself or signaling the competitors through their presentation. I ask that you hold the applause until the end of the question period. Competitors, you're free to begin your presentation.
Do we have the clicker?
Not quite yet. I will. I think I did. Okay. Volume is up.
Business can be like a checkboard. Chess can be an intimidating field, one that's filled with many opportunities, but also many things to be aware of. But if you move the right pieces into the right position, you can position yourself to win the game. My name's Nathaniel, I'm joined with Angela and Sherry, and together we're Team C Consulting, here to answer the case of Skills for Life. The key question that we were asked was, how can Skills for Life grow awareness and acquisition to build a sustainable future? We've broken this hefty question down into two key considerations: overcoming a perceptual barrier, as well as approaching and generating leads within B2B. Through our recommendations of planting the seed and nurturing the plant, which is a marketing campaign that moves beyond the classroom, as well as a B2B corporate package, we believe that we'll be able to achieve 2 times ROI and increase awareness for Skills for Life. So let's break this down. Your value proposition is your ability to develop skills and develop interpersonal skills beyond the typical settings of the workplace or the classroom. However, your ability to promote your organization's Skills for Life is hindered because of a lack of awareness. This lack of awareness stems from a lack of marketing, which all tunnels down to a lack of capacity on your end. And this means that, Corinna and judges, you have limited capacity, which requires prioritization of the most important tasks and objectives. And so we've boiled down the most important tasks and objectives into 2 main things: overcoming that perceptual barrier and lead acquisition. So what is this perceptual barrier? Within EAL, there's a lot of misconceptions around that it's just for rehabilitation or just for therapy. However, there's a lot of skills that are applied in your EAL programs that are applicable outside of the program and in the workforce. Things like communication, decision-making, and teamwork. And you need to communicate that the versatility and real-world implications of these skills are developed through your program and can be applied outside of it. And so the question then becomes, how can EAL better communicate the real-world skills gained in order to overcome the perception that your organization's EAL programs are just therapeutic? Focusing on the other half, which is lead acquisition, we wanted to evaluate B2C as well as B2B as 2 options, as we want to make sure that whichever you target is the one that best positions you to reach your goal of either 125 new clients or 40 programs completed. We evaluated these off of 3 things: profitability, alignment with core values, as that's crucial with Corinna's company, and finally, capacity, since this is a major issue. And so we evaluated it, and we found that B2B really aligned with your organization. The reason why is because it's the most profitable. One lead acquired can mean either hundreds or even thousands of dollars generated, whereas that would take a lot more time with B2C. As well, this funnels into the capacity, where because you are targeting larger clients, you don't have to spend as much time with each individual client. And so we wanted to detail finally this opportunity in more depth. This increased demand for EAL, your programs, with individuals and professionals is a great opportunity, despite increased competition from other organizations also targeting it. Now, reaching just one medium-sized business allows Skills for Life to generate much more revenue and achieve your goal of 40 programs completed. Now, you can leverage your strong network. That's something that Corinna excels at, to over competition and acquire new leads. But at the end of the day, the B2B opportunity gives Corinna the ability to choose accounts that align with your values while maximizing your capacity for growth. And finally, the question here then becomes, how should Skills for Life approach generating business-to-business leads?
From the analysis, we have determined two key questions. The first one being, how can EL overcome this perceptual barrier? And the second one being, how should Skills for Life approach when it comes to generating leads for B2B? With the motions set in place on the checkboard, we have now determined which questions we need to approach. This brings us to, what is the next steps that you must take in order to take the crown? We're so excited to introduce you our recommendation of Beyond the Classroom Marketing Campaign and a B2B corporate package. Let's dive into the first one. With the first recommendation of planting the seed, we want to nurture this idea of EAL and the Skills for Life. So the way we want to approach overcome the perception is by changing perceptions through a marketing campaign. With this marketing campaign, it will be titled Beyond the Classroom. We understand that learning with Skills for Life it goes beyond the classroom. It goes much beyond just paper learning and looking at PowerPoint slides. It actually goes when it comes to communication, when it comes to teamwork, and when it comes to bonding with people around you. So we want to make sure that this campaign really details your value proposition, which is Skills for Life is a unique way to encourage human development. And not only that, the tone from this campaign, we have to make sure that it's also authentic, warm, and welcoming. To understand that working with horses, it may be intimidating. A lot of people have never even touched a horse or seen a horse for the first time in their life. So we want to make sure that this campaign, it also breaks down that barrier when it comes to approaching learning with horses. And not only that, the goal from this campaign is that we want to clearly communicate your advantage that Skills for Life has over traditional learning, such as in a classroom, hence beyond the classroom. Here are some channels that we decided to use when it comes to promoting your campaign. We want to namely promote through social media such as YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and the reason behind that is because these platforms are a great way to share video content. So an example of what a campaign would look like is, for example, a kid might come to your barn and look at these horses, and you can show them guiding the horse through an obstacle course. This shows the problem-solving aspect of your service. The second part is, it's not limited to just kids. Adults can also learn when it comes to Skills for Life. You can also showcase an adult grooming the horse, learning attention to detail. So all in all, I want to conclude the campaign with the key messaging, learn Skills for Life goes beyond the classroom. And the impact from this is that it effectively overcomes these perceptual barriers and establishes Skills for Life for everyone.
Now moving into the implementation process, let's take a deeper focus into your key player for your Beyond the Classroom marketing campaign. So working with these key players, you'll be able to hire a photographer, whether that's a family or friend, with a professional camera, and to showcase the reality of your workshops and your working with the one-on-one client. And with this, you will also be able to supplement it by posting on your website. And following that, this social media campaign will be launched on all company-owned social media campaigns, on your social media channels such as TikTok, Instagram, as well as YouTube for that video component, as well as to drive that user engagement. So following this, you'll be able to supplement with improving your SEO, search engine optimization strategy through optimizing your relevant keywords to increase traffic, to drive potential leads into your website. As well, there will be an opt-in form on your website landing page in order to drive and in order to invite people to opt into your emails. So lastly, you'll be able to measure this recommendation through the 3 key KPIs such as user engagement, as well as likes and shares, click-through rate, as well as website traffic.
With the second recommendation, we want to nurture the plant after planting the seed. So introducing B2B packages. B2B packages are a great way to actually acquire a new type of customer, which is more business professionals. So with this recommendation, we split this up into two parts. The main part of it is the workshop. The workshop is what it will look like for these B2B clients, which will basically be a one-day workshop with lots of team activities and lots of journaling and reflection. The reason this best aligns with B2B customers is because post-pandemic, a lot of companies are looking for a way for their employees to reconnect with each other. They're usually over Zoom. They don't really talk to each other much except over through Windows Office. But however, with in-person events coming out soon, it's a great way for employees to actually connect and learn how to bond as a team together again. And not only that, the value offering is very important as well. You want to make sure that your company is also showcasing the types of skills they can learn from Skills for Life. For example, the problem solving, the team bonding, and especially the shift in environment. There's a lot of things that we can learn in an office or in a classroom, but there's also a lot of things that we can't learn in an office. That's why Skills for Life is the perfect place for employees to learn how to communicate and solve their problems with their own colleagues. So the impact from this is that after the pandemic, Skills for Life actually provides a perfect surface for employees to reconnect with one another. The way that we wanted to break this down is into 3 steps: generate, connect, and envision. And the way we want to promote the B2B program, with generate, you want to actually create a lead generation. So what this includes the criteria, for example, it can be the local capacity of these businesses, whether it's small or big, or it can also be the alignment with this business. Some businesses are still online, they may not need this type of service to actually reconnect with their employees, but some businesses are slowly integrating back into in-person workspaces, which is perfect for an activity like Skills for Life. And the second part is actually connecting. This is where I'll actually get to talk to these business clients, and this will be mainly done through email and phone, because we really want to build that one-to-one relationship with these clientele. And not only that, we know that Karina has a really good, strong personal network. She loves talking to people. She's really good at building that personal connection with them, which is a perfect place and perfect alignment for B2B businesses. And lastly, you want to make sure that these customers can envision this service. Well, to do that, we have designed a corporate package. And with this corporate package, will come in whether in the form of digital or physical. And inside this corporate package, this will detail out different costing or even different scheduling, and even maybe a breakdown of what it looks like to spend a day at, doing a workshop with Skills for Life. And all in all, what this recommendation will do is that it'll help acquire 40 completed programs and create this long-term strategy that Skills for Life is looking for.
All right, now, how do we execute this B2B strategy? First, let's look at generate. You're able to generate a short list of mid-sized B2B potential leads through your wide range of networks, and we have suggested a few examples for you here in the home of Saskatoon. Next up, with Connect, you'll be able to allocate a couple of hours throughout your workday and cold call your potential leads, as well as create an attractive proposal with email marketing. And so these emails you'll be able to generate from these leads from their corporate website as well as your personal network. And so these email templates will be specifically tailored to each of the buyer's decision stage. For example, if you have a lead that just needs that little extra oomph, you'll be able to have an email template specifically generated for that conversion stage. So next up is Envision. Envision, you're going to design a corporate package that will cost $450 per hour per business. And so this, you'll be able to generate a personalized schedule breakdown for your corporate client. And to showcase that one of their A teams will have a session 1 with your horse D at 9 a.m. for building teamwork. And at 1 p.m., your session 2 with horse Holly, you'll be able to teach communication to them. And last but not least, the most important thing is for corporate reflection with your team for journaling. How will you be able to measure with 2 KPIs? Number 1 is the number of leads that you'll be able to convert, as well as the open rate for the emails as well. And next up, you want to be able to reach that 1,000 leads, as well as have at least two scheduled appointments B2B by the end of next quarter. And in order to continue that relationship with your B2B and prolong that connection and relationship with them, you want to be able to offer that one-time family-friendly coupon to each employee by the end of that workshop. Now, looking at the implementation timeline, well, we've broken down the Beyond the Classroom campaign as well as the B2B corporate package for you. So something I want to highlight is that the creation of the marketing assets will take around 1 quarter to create, and you'll be able to launch this social media campaign throughout the rest of the year. And next up, with the B2B corporate package, you want to be able to generate potential leads and connect with those decision makers all throughout each per quarter, and so you'll be able to host those workshops and have at least hosted 20 workshops with your B2B clients by the end of quarter 1 in 2024. And after that, you'll be able to monitor and collect corporate feedback with surveys as well. So moving on to costing, you'll be able to this costs you a $3,400 in costs, in incremental costs. The most important thing to highlight is the SEO as well as the social media costs, creation of marketing assets, as well as purchasing that equine curriculum with a rough amount of $1,000. And so with the marketing funnel, you'll be able to convert 40 leads by the end of it and have a 6.67% conversion rate. And the total incremental profit for you is $6,800. And that is an increase from what you have right now with your current strategy. And this will give you ultimately a 2 times ROI with your spending per marketing dollar spent. So, following this, we have we've highlighted 3 risks and mitigations for you today. So one thing that I want to highlight for you is that not enough horses, there are not enough horses instructors to accommodate to this B2B strategy, because you, Karina, are the only person that is able to facilitate these workshops on a day-to-day basis. And so with that, we want to be able to mitigate that in terms of a long-term strategy with hiring an additional certified instructor through the EAL program and as well as sponsor certifications. Next up, your customers might think that this service is too expensive. They don't see the purpose behind it. However, your social media marketing campaign will drive that connection and ultimately decrease that barrier and ultimately convert them with a first-time discount as a customer as well. Following this, your B2B strategy, you'll be able to offer that discounted rate for friends and family, and they'll be able to invite them, and through this will ultimately achieve word of mouth for your company.
Ultimately today, we've answered the key ask of how can Skills for Life grow awareness and acquisition to build a sustainable future for Karina's business. It's an important question and one that we considered alongside Karina's own values as well as her own goal of being able to run her own business and work for herself. Through the key considerations of her overcoming that perceptual barrier, where people think that EAL programs are just therapeutic, as well as considering that Skills for Life needs to acquire new customers in order to build that sustainable future that we mentioned, and that in order to be able to build and generate efficient targets, you need to target B2B leads. We've come up with our 2 recommendations, planting the seed and nurturing the plant. With planting the seed, you have an impact on that awareness, and you are able to convert people's opinions from EAL programs just being therapeutic to actually being a program where they're able to bring those skills and bring those lessons that they've learned from EAL programs back into the workforce. With Nurture the Plant and your B2B corporate packages, you're really able to generate leads that will play a role in giving your capacity and Karina's time the ability to work well together. And so you're going to be able to not only sustain this business, but also make sure that Karina is able to continue to generate leads efficiently going forward. Ultimately, it's through this that you're able to reach that 2 times ROI and an increased awareness for Skills for Life. The checkboard's a complicated one with many pieces and with many moves to make. Karina, Skills for Life, you've set your pieces up for success, and through our recommendations today, you're able to make those moves. You're able to move your pieces in the right places, knowing exactly where you need to go. Now all that's left is checkmate. Thank you so much.
So in your presentation, you described kind of like a basic market funnel: awareness, consideration, and decision. So activities by Skills for Life and when your strategy really drive people to move from consideration to decision to become a client?
Yeah, so with the consideration all the way to conversion stage, we believe that the most important part is social proof and providing that on your website and your social media. And that is why on those marketing deliverables you'll have, that's why we wanted to hire those photographers and have anecdotes and testimonials from your current clients as well.
I'm curious who we're talking to as well as where. I know you had your B2B strategy with Nick for Trade Unlimited Saskwater. Are we looking at provincial-wide partnerships? Where are we focusing our efforts?
Yeah, I'd love to take that question. So currently, because your capabilities is a two-man team, it's just Karina and her secretary, the problem here is that we won't be able to reach as many businesses as you would like to. However, we understand that starting small does not mean you cannot end big. So with these examples, these are just some of the examples that we suggested. These are around small to medium-sized companies that are also going back into person and are looking for ways for the employees to reconnect. However, after these companies are targeted, you also have the opportunity to target even more companies within the same categories.
So just to confirm, that's the long-term strategy where we're going, or where are we starting?
Yeah, I'm happy to take this. This is where we're starting. So these are small to medium-sized businesses within the province.
So provincial-wide.
Yes. Yeah.
So I have a question. At the start, you said when you broke down the one of the cons of B2C was the capacity to reach out individually. So the difference between traditional and digital is that you're able to have a focused approach with digital, whereas in traditional you're not. It's mass, whether or not they want it, they're driving past the billboard, right? So I'm going through your B2B strategy. It did rely heavily on the individual methods of connecting in terms of the cold calling and emailing. So I would appreciate you expanding on that a little bit more.
Sorry, just to clarify, you wanted to know about the capacity regarding B2B?
So I had a similar question on B2B is how are you identifying the companies that you're reaching out? Like, are you, if it was 25 years ago, are you opening up the phone book and starting with A and calling people? Or how are you choosing those companies and how are you, because that is, I think what you're saying is that's high capacity work on a cold call. And how is that differentiating than what you're saying? Capacity.
So versus like, because you can reach a large amount of people with B2C by automating your digital campaigns, which is part of your strategy.
Yeah, I'm happy to take that. So on the criteria with the capacity, we're kind of taking into account how much time, even past that first initial contact, it would take to nurture the lead and continue to that conversation with the client. With regards to our recommendation and kind of how we're approaching our B2B strategy, we are pairing our kind of cold calls as well with kind of your personal network, as well as online, where you're leveraging things like SEO to be able to have keywords that companies, when they're searching up things like team bonding or kind of skill building activities, they're able to find your organization faster.
How are you, sorry, can we go back to how are you identifying your B2B companies because you're going through a cold call technique where you're gonna, so who are you calling?
So with B2B lead generation, we always have a criteria, and the criteria that we've set for this recommendation will be that first it will start off with as a local company and making sure that this company is sufficient enough to actually have the budget to do team retreats, team activities outside of work. And then we also want to make sure that that company is aligned with what your business is offering, which is learning communication skills and really bonding with the team as well. So that'll be any companies that currently are back in office and not online.